A teacher buys some pencils. Aren't we the best? He buys 2 pencils for each of his students. Okay, 2 pencils per student. He buys 10 additional pencils that has nothing to do with the students. Each pencil costs 10 cents. So which equation describes the total amount of money in dollars that the student spends on pencils as a function of the number of students X he has? All right, so I'm not even going to look at these. He buys 2 pencils per student. Okay, so Y equals 2 pencils a student is going to be 20 cents. So 2 pencils, 20 cents per student. On top of that, he buys 10 additional pencils. So not having anything to do with the students, he spends 10 times a dime, which is $1 on pencils. So I guess, like, I don't know, you're trying to find out just the equation, it looks like. So it looks like the only one that matches up is C. It's just that instead of writing it out as $1, they said 20 cents per student plus $1. The answer is C. A is saying that the teacher spent $1.20 per student. B is saying the teacher spent $2 per student. C is saying that he spent 20 cents per student plus $1. And D is saying he spent $10 per student plus $12. I'm sorry, 10 cents per student plus $12. So the answer that I need here is C. That's what matches up. The end. Bari paid a total of $62 for 3 hours of driving lessons. This included a $20 fee for the driver's manual and an hourly rate to use the car. What is the hourly rate Bari paid? All right, so he paid a total of $62. So let's just set up an equation. The total is $62, right? 3 hours of driving lessons, and he included $20 just for the manual. Okay, so the T here, the total that he paid is $62. That's going to equal 3 hours plus 20. Subtract 20, subtract 20. That gets me $42. So if he already had a manual, he would spend $42 for 3 hours of driving. That's what this says, but I need the hourly rate, so I'm going to divide everything by 3. And 42 divided by 3 is $14 per hour. Maybe I should become a driving instructor. Sounds like a good business model to me. All right. A clothing company sells hats online to its customers. Ooh, hats, no cap. Actually, yes, cap, because it's hats. The price of each hat is P dollars. The shipping cost is S dollars. The equation shown below can be used to find the total cost in dollars when N hats are purchased. All right, so cost equals the number of hats times the price plus S, which S was supposed to be what? The shipping cost. Oh, okay. Okay. Which equation can be used to find the price of each hat when 5 hats are purchased? All right, so we have the cost is equal. 5 hats is going to take the place of N are purchased. The shipping cost is 6. All right, so S is 6. And C is 41, so I don't even need that C anymore, so let's get rid of it. Let's get rid of it. C is 41, so I'm replacing C with 41. That equals N, which is the number of hats, 5 times the price, which we don't know anything about, plus the shipping cost, which is 6. So the answer is C. C for cost, C for yes, and C for answer, baby. Martha earns money sewing curtains. She charges a flat fee to meet with a customer and take window measurements and an hourly rate to sew the curtains. All right. So basically, Martha's going to charge somebody no matter what. And then after that, she's going to charge like $10 an hour or whatever it's supposed to be. The graph below shows the relationship between the time and hours Martha works on a sewing project and the total amount in dollars she changes. So without even looking at the question, all right, it looks like what's going on is if she just shows up to your house, 0 time working on anything, she just shows up to your house, you're going to pay her $20. That's her flat rate. And then her hourly rate is going to be, let's find 2 dots that work, that one and that one. So she goes $20 per 2 hours. So her rate's going to be $20 per 2 hours. Don't know why I made that so small, but that ends up being $10 an hour. So she charges $10 an hour, charges $20 no matter what. What is the hourly rate that Martha charges for sewing curtains? So that's it right there. The hourly rate is $10. That is the slope. So whenever you look at an equation and it gives you a slope and a y-intercept, the y-intercept is where you start out and the slope is a rate. And in this case, we care about the rate of $10 per hour. Denzo. A graph of a relation is shown below. Okay, got a couple dots going on here, a couple lines connecting the dots. Removing which line segment from the graph would make the relation a function. So this is fun. So basically what you're going to do here is you're going to draw yourself a vertical line. As you can see, that's perfectly vertical. And what you need to see is if you were to pass this perfect vertical line across this picture, will it hit your line twice? Now, of course it does this whole time. I need to figure out which one of these lines can I remove so that I can pass this line through it and my red won't hit the black line twice. Well, if I were to remove this one on the left, pretend it's not there, it still hits twice. Same thing with the right. So I either have to remove the top line or the bottom line. Now, if I am going to remove the top line, pretend it's not there, I still have my red line hitting here twice. So let's just make believe this bottom line isn't there. I'm going to draw over the remaining lines in green. Wow, that looks terrible. So that you can see what I'm talking about. I'm only focusing on the green. Right now, I'm pretending that the black line here doesn't exist. I'm going to move my vertical line throughout the green, and at no point is my red and green going to hit more than once. So removing this bottom line is going to make this guy a function. So this point is -4, -2. So I got to remove -4, -2. I also have to remove this point right here, which is regular 4, -3. And that's D. What a weird problem. I liked it though. The solution set of an inequality is shown below. All right, so this is an in-between inequality, and it looks like they want us to use x, so I'll put x as in between. I'm not going to include 3 or 6 because these are open circles, which means they're not filled in, so we're not going to include the or equal to things, and x lives in between 3 and 6. So what I have to do is find out which one of these guys is in between 3 and 6. And if you're looking at this, sad because you have to solve for inequalities, not so bad. When you solve inequalities that are in betweeners, you just take the x in the middle and get rid of whatever stuff you have to get rid of to all 3 sides. So if I had to divide u by 3, divide u by 3, and divide u by 3, I'm going to get a third is in between x, which is in between 2/3, not what I want. If I subtract 2, subtract 2, subtract 2, I get 1 minus 2, which is -1, is less than x, is less than 2, not what I want. So let's get rid of a and b. If I divide everything here by 2, oh, it's promising. 6 divided by 2 is 3. X is all alone in the middle. 9 divided by 2 is not 6, so it's not C. It's got to be D. So let's subtract 3, subtract 3, subtract 3. You cross out 6 minus 3 is 3. X is all alone. 9 minus 3 is 6. D is my guy. I'm happy. A scatter plot shows the relationship between the distance x in miles from a local airport to airports in various cities and the time y in minutes a flight between the airports takes. The equation below describes the line of best fit. Based on the equation, which value is the most likely distance in miles between two airports when a flight between the airports takes 240 minutes? Now, 240 minutes is y, so be very, 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 very careful. It's tempting to plug 240 into x, but you're actually taking 240 and plugging it into y. So 240 equals 0.16 x plus 58.62. Okay. Let's subtract 58.56, subtract 58.56. This gives you 181.44, I think. Comment if I'm wrong. That equals 0.16x, and you are now gone. Now, no matter what, there's no way I could do that divided by 0.16. So I'm going to have to refer to my calculator, or in this case, I'm going to use Siri. Okay, my calculator says 1134. Bada bing, I like it. The table below represents a function of x. Which equation describes the function? All right, I'm going to do this without the use of a calculator. I could use Desmos on here, and if you look at Mr. Perich's YouTube, there's tons of them. I'm not going to. I'm going to do this by hand. First thing I need to do is I need to figure out what my pattern is here. What is my x doing? Adding 2 every time. What is my y doing? Subtracting 4 every time. Why do I care about this? Because the slope of my line or function is going to be the change in y. So, a lot of times you'll see that little delta triangle looking thing over the change of x. What was my change in y? -4. What was my change in x? 2. So my slope is -2. Now, if I were to look at this from a y equals mx plus b form, I now have y equals m, which is now -2x, and I need my b. But if I have y equals -2x, that eliminates u, and that eliminates u. Get out of here. What I need to do now is find what my y-intercept is. So what I can do in order to find b, so I'll put that plus b back there, is I'll take any one of these points, x and y, and I'll replace the x and the y here, and that'll allow me to find b. So if I choose that point right there, y, my y value is 16, so I'm going to replace y with 16. That's going to equal -2. If I chose that point, my x value is 4, so I've got 4 plus b. Multiply these guys together, you've got -8 plus b equals 16. Add 8, and b, wrong one. B is going to equal 24. So now that I already knew that y was -2x plus b, and I just found out that b is 24, I can combine them both to make y equals -2x plus b, which is positive 24. All those b's, and look at what the answer is. B for baby. Over 1 week, a snack booth at a fair sold 362 cans of soft drinks for $1.75 each and 221 hot dogs for $2.35 each. Which calculation will give the closest estimate of the sales of soft drinks and hot dogs. All right, so they want us to do hundreds for the numbers, and they want us to do whole dollars for the dollars. So I'm going to round U up to 400. So we'll say 400 cans of soft drinks for $2 each, and plus 221, let's make that 200. For $2.35 each, let's make that 2, round U down. So yeah, I think we can go right to B on that one. That seems to be the best estimate right there. I like it. Let's circle B, dunzo. An equation and some of the steps used to solve the equation are shown below. One step is missing. All right, so that step is missing, so I guess I'll just do it. 2x, okay, so this is distributed property. 2 times a parentheses is distributed property. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 3 is minus 6. And then we have plus 10x equals 5 times 3, which is 15. Distributed property again. 5 times x is 5x. All right, so I guess that guy would be that guy. Which set of statements is most likely the missing step and the property that justifies the step? All right, well, it looks like it's going to be U, because 2x minus 6 plus 10x, 2x minus 6 plus 10x equals 15 plus 5x, 15 plus 5x. And it's used by doing the distributed property. So C is my guy right there. Now, if you're wondering, like, well, what's the difference between C and D? Well, the D has a 5 missing, so tricky. But it's distributed property for sure. That's the step that I seem to be missing right there. That's what I got, and I'm sticking to it. The scatter plot shown below shows the relationship between the number of video files, X, stored on a computer and the number of gigabytes, Y, of storage space available on the computer. All right, so we got ourselves a scatter plot. We got a bunch of dots, and it looks to me, and I'm no mathematician, but it looks to me that the more video files you have, the less available storage you have. That's called, boys and girls, a negative correlation. Based on the scatter plot, which equation represents a line of best fit that could be used to predict the number of gigabytes of storage space available on the computer based on the number of video files that could be stored on the computer, question mark. Well, I need a line of best fit, so I'm going to do my darndest to draw a perfectly straight line, which is really difficult for me to do on this computer here. But what I have is I kind of have myself a line going through those dots. Now, more importantly, I'm kind of almost done here, but not really. First things first, if I'm going to compare this to y equals a number x plus whatever, that looks to me like slope-intercept form. So y equals mx plus b. Now, a little Freudian slip here. I accidentally called m negative. All of these are negative. That's not going to help. But what I do see is that b is somewhere up here in the 200s. Okay, somewhere up here. So that's going to be my y-intercept is somewhere in the 200s. So definitely not u and definitely not u. Okay, so I'm going to say b is 200, I don't know, 200-ish. What I have to do is find my slope. Now, my slope, I really have to be a whole lot more careful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick points that look promising to me. All right? I'm going to pick points that look good to me. I'm going to pick that point right there, and I'm going to pick that point right there, and I'm going to try to find the slope. Now, my line of best fit pretty much hit all of these dots, so I'm okay with doing it this way. If I go from here to here, I'm going down 1 box, 2 boxes. Going down 2 boxes is a change of 200 to 150, which is 50. So I'm going down. It's a negative slope, 50, and I'm going to go over, and it looks like every time I go over 1. So over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So negative 50 over 5 is going to give me negative 10. So the answer that I'm coming up with is m is equal to negative 10. B is 20-ish, somewhere in between 200 and 250. Okay, so I'll say around like 225. So I'll change that to 225. So I have y equals negative 10x plus 225. Now that clearly is not what I'm given for either of these. But negative 10 is closer to negative 8 than negative 14. And 225 is closer to 227 than 250. So I'm going to go with C. Okay, I like C. Is it perfect? No. But is it much closer than A? It sure is. Let's go with that. I'm sticking to it. The set of ordered pairs below is a relation. It sure is. Which relation has the same domain as the given relation? Domain means the x values. And if you're like, an x value, well, if I give you a point right there, that's an x. So I need something where I have x values of 0.5, 1.5, 4.0, and 6.5. So 1, nope. So it's not A. 0.5, so far so good. 1.5, so far so good. 4.0, so far so good. 6.5, I like it. And if you were to look at this guy, 2 is not seen up there. The x values here are negative, so B is the only logical answer. Dunzo. Sandy has at least 2 times as many pencils as David has. David has 3 pencils more than Pietro. Pietro has 4 pencils. Which number line shows the solution set of possible numbers? Okay, that Sandy has. Okay, so lots to do here. So Sandy, here's Sandy. I'm just going to write everything out. Sandy, and we'll use S, I guess, I don't know, has at least 2 times many pencils as David. So Sandy is greater than or equal to 2 times David. David has 3, so okay, David has, so D has 3 pencils more than Pietro. So D is 3 pencils more than Pietro. Which number line shows the solution set for the possible numbers of pencils that Sandy has? Okay. Well, Sandy is 2 times greater than 2 times D, which is 3 plus P. Oh, and Pietro has 4 pencils. Oh, so let's turn that P into 4. So 3 plus 4. Oh, I didn't even notice that. There we go. That makes life a lot easier. So Sandy is 2 times David, and David is 3 plus Pietro, and Pietro is 4. So 3 plus 4 is 7, and 2 times 7 is greater than or equal to 14. So I need the one that's greater than or equal to 14, which is U. Yeah, I like it. These two don't make sense, and here's why. None of these make sense, and here's why. You are basically saying Sandy has negative pencils. Not possible. Sandy has, well, this is possible, but Sandy has like 7. Okay. This is not possible because Sandy has negative. So you can't do those two. That doesn't make sense. So A and C are the only logical ones, and A is the one that follows the math. The answer is A. A dog's body temperature, T in degrees Fahrenheit F, is considered normal when the value of the expression below is no more than 0.75. So this guy has got to be no more than 0.75. So let's set that up. The absolute value, T minus 101.75, is no more than, which means it's less than, and it's also equal to 0.75. So let's write that out. So whenever you have a absolute value less than or equal to, It is considered an AND problem. So I'm going to write that out right there. I'll come back to it. Now, when you have an absolute value with an inequality symbol, you split it up into two equations. Okay, one equation, you keep literally everything exactly the same, except you get rid of the absolute value. So t minus 101.75 is less than or equal to 0.75. The other guy, you're going to get rid of the absolute value, but keep the left side exactly the same, 101.75. Flip the sign, so greater than or equal to, and then make this opposite, negative 0.75. Now you solve each inequality the way you normally would. I'm going to add 101.75 to both sides. I had 101.75, cross you out. And t is going to be less than 102.5. Over here, I'm going to add 101.75, add 101.75, cross you out. T is greater than or equal to 101. So this is an AND statement. So if I'm going to say t is less than that number and also greater than that number, then I'm going to put t right in the middle of everything. I'm going to put less than or equal to's, and I'm going to make it an in-between where 101 is on the left and 102.5 is on the right. So a dog's body temperature is 101.2. Which is good. Based on the expression, which statement about the dog's body temperature is true? Since normal body temperature is from 100.25 to 103.25, the dog's body temperature is considered normal. Well, I mean, this part's true. The dog's body temperature is considered normal, but 100.25 and 103.25 are not the numbers that I need, so let's cross you out. Since normal body temperature is, same numbers, don't like it. Since the normal body temperature is 101, to 102.5, the dog's body temperature is considered normal because it's 101.2, so C is my answer there. But just to make sure, D says not considered normal, gives you the same numbers. That's not true. The answer is C. Ooh, a constructive response problem. Small baskets of tomatoes are sold at a vegetable stand for $3 per basket. Large baskets of tomatoes are sold at the stand for $5 per basket. Only whole numbers of baskets may be purchased. Makes sense. A customer purchases a total of 8 baskets of tomatoes and pays $36. This is before he even says that I know this is systems of equations. So we're going to write and solve a system of equations that models the number of small baskets and the number of large baskets that the customer purchases. Show or explain your work. So we're dealing with tomatoes. Okay, we know that we've got a price, a price, a price. So I'm going to circle this in red, a price, and a price. Small baskets, X, are $3 per basket, 3X. On top of that, $5 are going to be the cost of the large baskets, which is Y, so 3X plus 5Y. And this person is paying $36. So usually when you have a system of equations, one of your equations is going to have to do with price, cost, money, money, money. The other equation is usually total. Now, I don't know my total, but what I know is I bought 8 of them. So the small baskets plus the Y baskets are going to equal 8 baskets. So not only am I doing this I have to write and solve a system that models the number. Show or explain all of your work. Not much explaining. I'm going to show it. And the way I'm going to show it is I'm going to use elimination. Now you could use substitution because the numbers or the letters right here are pretty nice, but I'm going to use elimination because everything is already in order. Let's get rid of X. the way I'm going to get rid of x is I'm going to multiply the bottom row by -3. That leaves me with a top row of 3x plus 5y equals 36. And if I multiply the entire bottom row by -3, I have -3 times x, so -3x, -3 times y, so -3y, equals -3 times 8, which is -24. Okay, add those rows up. The x in this case is going to go away. 5y and 3y is 2y, and 36 minus 24 is 12. So let's bring the 2y equals 12 up here. Divide both sides by 2. Y is 6. That means this person bought 6 large baskets. Now, I need to find out what x is, and common sense would tell us we know what x is. But let's use this bottom equation because it looks nicer, and rewrite the bottom equation replacing the y with 6 because I know that y is 6. Look at these colors. So I'm going to do that. Rewrite this equation replacing y with 6. Subtract 6 from both sides. X equals 2, just like I knew would happen. So write and solve a system of equations that models the number. So I have my system solve for x is 2, y is 6. I get the point 26. Now, I'm leaving it like this, knowing very well that that is not a typical answer for a word problem. You know, there was no question being asked of how many of each I got. It just says write an equation or a system of equations, which I did, solve it, which I did. That's it. It doesn't say you must answer this now, which is probably going to be part of the next part, which I will go to right now. So I'm going to write out the fact that I had 2, 6 up here once it shows up on the screen, whenever it shows up, any minute now, any second. As it loads on the screen, we wait to write out 2, 6 right here. And remember, 2 meant small, 6 meant large. So LRG. Allergy. Small basket. Okay, that information is the same as before. Another customer claims that he can purchase a total of 10 baskets of tomatoes and pay $45. Use a system of equations to describe that this other customer's purchase to explain why his claim is incorrect. All right, so it's $3 for small ones, $5 for large ones, and he paid $45. The total, x plus y, is 10 of them. So this guy is saying he spent $45 on 10 baskets and there's no way, which it would be no way. Well, let's see why there's no way. I have an idea as to what's going to happen, but I don't want to give it away. So since we did elimination for the last one, let's do substitution for this one. So let's take this bottom equation, subtract x from both sides to get us y equals -x plus 10. And what we'll do is we will plug that back into the y up here. This is called the blob method. The blob method. So you're my blob. All right. I'm going to, over here, where I have a little bit more space, write out the top equation, but replace y with -x plus 10. So 3x plus 5 instead of y, -x plus 10, close it, equals 45. Substitution, not substitution, distribution, 5 times -x is -5x, 5 times 10 is 50. That equals 45. 3x minus 5x is -2x, plus 50 equals 45. Subtract 50, subtract 50. -2x equals -5. Divide by -2, divide by -2. X equals 2.5. I could solve for y, but I don't need to because we need to use a system of equations that describes this other customer's purchase to explain why his claim is incorrect. His claim is incorrect because he bought 2.5 baskets that are small baskets. And you might be like, well, what's the problem with that? Only whole numbers of baskets may be purchased. So this customer claims to have purchased 2.5 baskets. Since I'm running out of room, I'll explain the rest without writing it down. But you can't buy 2.5 small baskets because you can only buy whole numbers of baskets. And that's it. It's just a two-parter. So, when these guys are graded, you're probably going to get graded on the equations that you make, the answer that you got, maybe the work that you show. But yeah, constructive response. Fun, 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 fun.